Hi, and welcome back to Accidental Thoughts. I'm Jason.
And I used to be the Shaggy DA. Anyway,
Wow.
that'd be
Shaggy
cool.
DA, huh?
That'd be cool, man. Just to
That's a
have
new
that
one.
ability. That would be kind of a neat thing, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all
Yep.
know how that actually turned out in a way. It's kind of like, kind of a curse that it is a blessing. Yeah, I noticed that your headphones really like your headphones is really
Yeah,
like
'cause there's a little
amplified.
spike
You're
in
like,
front of my head. Yeah.
hey man, why don't you take your toe out of the surge protector real quick?
That's a little better. I was noticing too. I looked
Oh, I
like I had
noticed
one
it
of them
earlier when
surfer
you
dude haircut.
when you first turned it on, I was sitting there going, "Okay, did you just, like, roll out of the bed or something? What the hell's the deal with your hair?"
Um, I'm overdue for a haircut again. You know
Yeah.
how that goes, man. You get so busy and you get nothing done. And next thing you
Ah,
know, you look in the mirror and I look like the Shaggy.
there's no dissing that. We don't diss the
Uh,
Shaggy DA, man.
no, no,
That would
no,
be
no. I'm just
wild.
saying,
That
I'm
would be
getting.
wild.
It would
I
be. It'd be
mean,
a pretty cool little
well,
thing to be able to do.
part of it. Then there's other parts of it that's like, no. It's like there's no turn off to it, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing altogether. Anyway, last week we did not have the opportunity to grace this glorious land of podcasts because, well, technically I had stuff to do and we didn't get to do it. So we have to make up for it today. So we discussed a couple things here recently. And I think we
Mhm.
started talking about it last week. We was going to actually do this last week. And I mean, when I brought it to your attention even, you were all like, "Oh, hell yeah." And I mean, because it was like, I just, it, how do I put it? It irked me. I mean, it irks me because, and some people it won't. Some people it'll probably rub them the wrong way if they're not, fully listening to what it is we're really trying to say. But the conversation we brought
Right.
up here recently was about tips, not a tip in the sense of how to cut your hair, like Jason.
I was gonna say not even just, normal tipping on restaurants, stuff like that, but the compulsory one, I believe is
Yeah,
what was
where they
getting me.
add it. They add it. Yeah, if you spend this much, we're gonna add this to like what? And when I was looking it up, I was, reading a little bit about it, because I was kind of curious. It's like, part of you really thinks it's like, this has got to be against the law or something. I mean, this is bogus. I mean, you're gonna make me pay for a tip, even if it sucked. I mean, but anyway, it's not against the law. It's not. But
No,
the reason
and
that
it's unfortunately the
people do it,
going
yeah, the reason they do it is so that they don't have to give raises to their own employees or to give them benefits. And I was like, but you realize a tip is still just as taxable as, well, it was anyway. It was taxable. And it's like, okay, now that it's according to what that's supposed to happen, it's not supposed to be. Why can't, I
right.
mean, if a McDonald's employee can make 15 bucks an hour or something, I mean, that's not this and that, but I'm just saying, why can't,
No,
why can't, why are you forcing me to make a tip? That takes like the generosity away from me to give that person a tip.
exactly. Exactly. It the compulsory tipping is just odd. I mean, we've all known since we grow up, if you had a party of 6 or more, stuff
Right.
like that, because there is actual extra involved work with that. But for a
Correct.
takeout order like you were talking about,
Right.
what was there to put it on there other than what we discussed as being like inflationary cost cutting,
Correct.
which had they put that on there, hey, we added 10% to cover the inflation on eggs or
Exactly.
whatever it is going up for them, you probably
Right.
have been like, oh yeah, no, not a problem. I don't mind it. You're doing it
Right.
temporarily till the stuff comes back down.
And I
But
don't mind.
the fact
I
that
don't
they
mind the
did
fact that
that,
they
yeah,
put on the ticket, you know, okay, uh, this is what a 18% tip is, or a 20% tip is, or a
yeah,
20. I don't mind that. I don't mind them
no,
putting
no,
that
no.
I don't mind that at all because 9 times out
But
of 10, right. I mean, it's just telling me this is an option for you. That's an option, not mandatory. And
exactly.
the place that I was referring to with what started all this, when they added that 10%, I was just like, okay, well then I'll just take
Right.
10% away from what I was gonna do and you'll equal it. It's crap. But there are other places. And I brought this up because you have a tendency to go and get your coffee or your wife's
Yep.
coffee or however you want to put that.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah. I get
going
my
through a
iced
drive
coffee and
through.
I get me
A
my Willy
drive through.
Wonka.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
go through a drive through.
Yeah.
A drive through for a tip. A tip.
Yeah. But in my case, you've been on the phone with me. I
Right.
order a pretty
Right.
modified drink that
Yeah.
costs a little more to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel it necessary to add that tip.
But
Now, if I was just ordering
everybody
a
is that way.
tea or something like that, yeah.
That's
But
the thing.
if I was just ordering hot coffee, I'd probably,
Right.
not.
But they're
But
asking for it
morning
or they're,
fruit
you know,
coffees,
right.
no.
It's,
And they're not. They actually, I'm sure you've heard them. They ask, well, standard tip, which is like 5%
I
or
don't have
something
any
like
idea.
that at their,
There shouldn't be a standard
well, at
tip
that,
for a drive-through, dude.
yeah.
I don't
Well,
see
for
that.
coffee or a coffee shop, you can blame Starbucks for that. They started all that.
Right. Yeah.
And so it is kind of compulsory in that sense to leave
Yeah.
a tip for your barista. And if your barista's happy, they're more likely to make your coffee
It's a
just the
great
way
thing I
you
don't
like.
drink coffee because I have no idea what any of that
Good
is.
thing I don't either. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, no. You take a shot of coffee with your
Coffee.
chocolate
And
bar in
add
a
a ton
cup.
of chocolate.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and melt a chocolate bar in there with it. Yep.
Yeah. Which we have now learned Jason has limits. Jason has limits.
We're not getting into that story on air.
It's not getting out of you
Nice
anytime
try.
soon.
Oh no. I didn't have none today.
Limits.
Bottom line, we all know what coffee does to you in vast amounts. Imagine what chocolate does in vast amounts too.
Yeah. Probably why they use them for like laxatives and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's why they make X-Lax chocolate flavor, right?
yeah, no joke. But I still not, I mean, I still am. It's, I think the tip has gotten to the point where it's like, okay, you're taking the appreciation that you want to give to somebody, out of
Yeah.
it. And I mean, don't get me wrong,
Kind of
there are
taking
probably,
the
yeah, because I mean,
yeah,
I have I have a tendency. I like to tip. If I have a really good service, I like to tip large, and I do because I think hey, this person is went above and beyond to do for me to relieve the stress and everything of my moment here, and that's great, and I
yeah.
appreciate the people who do that. But their employer, for some reason, has felt that it's a necessity to sit there and add a 10% after a certain value, and it's like, no, no,
And
that's bull.
we're not talking like that group of 6. We're talking about your order in
Two,
specific that you were talking
two.
to. Was you picking up for your
Yeah,
wife
and
and
it was a
you and
yeah, it
maybe
was
a
a
couple of
pickup,
drinks? Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah, and it was a
"What the crap?"
it shouldn't be compulsory. It should be asked, at which point you probably
Right,
would have tipped well anyway
right,
because you go there often.
exactly.
So it's
Yep.
like that's why I say you probably wouldn't have even had a problem. I know I wouldn't have had they said,
No,
"Hey, due to the
hell
increased
no.
cost of this, and that right now,
Right,
while we're going through the inflationary period,
exactly.
we had to add this in there for that." You probably been, "Oh, well,
Easily.
yeah," and you
If it was
always
a
get the same
right,
percentage you always do.
yeah, if it was a
Yeah,
$40 ticket, easily a $10 tip. That's 25%. Easily $10. I'm like, hey, I'm good, and I'm picking it up. I'm not being waited on. I'm not anything like that. Easily, I would have done, and I normally more. But now that you're going to sit there and say, well, out of a $40 ticket, in this case, they're going to add 10%, which in this case is $4 to my bill. And I'm like, what? Why?
and
Because
had they
you spent
explained it
over
as an
40 bucks.
inflationary cost, yeah.
Yeah.
Had they
And it's,
explained
it's
it
like,
as an inflationary cost
yeah,
for the plasticware, for the whatever,
exactly.
it would have been
Yeah.
like, "Okay, not a
Yeah.
problem.
All
I'll just
because
pay the
they won't give
$44
their
and
own
then I'll leave."
employees a raise or anything like that. That has nothing to do with me. You're going to sit there and put me into this spot to where I'm going to look like, if I don't give a tip, I'm going to look like, kind of like a douche,
cheap
my,
ass.
because I'm not going to do it, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And people like that, it's not the person that's working there. I mean, God bless them, they do a good job. When waitresses and waiters and people that work, that's great. You're working for a living, and I support that, and I think it's great. But if an employer wants to sit there and turn around and or mandatory a increase on the fact of, oh well, you spent more than $40. You realize there's a lot of places $40
You can't
that
get
doesn't.
2 meals for that.
Exactly. And I'm like, "What?
And
Okay."
it's not uncommon. I mean, I told you about taking my son on his,
Right.
one of his, little, ACU things and then taking
Right,
him over to
right,
a
right,
church thing after, and we stopped at a certain sub shop that I
right.
won't name because I do like them. Their prices since the last time I went in there, it used to cost like $25 for 2 people to eat, the regular size subs at that place, and they were $45. And it was like, all right, well, it is what it is. We're eating lunch.
Wait, is that where we're going
So
Thursday?
quite potentially, yes.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy
That's what
smokes.
it costs. And of course,
Holy
I
s
think that included tip. And of course, I tip them because
Oh, okay.
just like anything else I order, I always have it customized.
Right, right. Because 'Cause I'm sitting there thinking,
So
"You went to a sub shop for that much?" And I'm thinking, "Okay, that's kind of." No, I will accept
you
this.
know that walking in, but it has gone up. I mean,
Right,
it's
and
the
I
inflation.
understand that. But instead of sitting there making me pay, a $4 tip on $40, and I mean, I couldn't. It's a percentage, of
Just raise the
course,
prices
10%. Put it on the cost of whatever you're buying, because I won't see
or
that. You
or
know,
put it on put it on there as a 10% surcharge, period.
something. Yeah,
Surcharge.
yeah. Don't
Not
sit there
a
and say
not a
I'm tipping you right
then you're
off the
telling
bat,
them exactly.
and you're going to pay for it just to get your meat. And I'm like, what? Because if you
Exactly.
look at the
Yeah,
price of it, that's what gets you. If you pay $15 for this and $15 for this, or let's say $20 and $20, okay, $20 and $20, okay, that's $40. All right.
exactly.
And okay, your total is $44 plus tax and the same thing. All of a sudden you're looking at something that's roughly $50, and you're like, how did I get to $50 all of a sudden? I know what our tax percentage is right now, and they don't tell you unless you look at the ticket.
Exactly.
And that's when you see it. Then you realize, you guys suck for doing this. But either way, I still bought the meal. I still bought the food.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. Now
and I still
I've known people and we see them on, apps like TikTok and Instagram and all
right,
that
right,
all the
right.
time that they see that compulsory tip and they're just like, "Nope, I'm done." Because
Exactly.
people are tired of being forced to be tipped.
Right,
Um, for instance, like you're talking about the coffee shop. Like I said,
right.
if I went to a coffee shop and I ordered a plain black cup of coffee, you're
Yeah.
not really gonna get a tip out of me. Sorry, you
Exactly.
poured a
Because
cup
there
of
is
coffee. That
nothing,
is
you
yours
are just doing your
automatically.
job. Matter of fact, I think we even
Exactly.
said something that we ought to tip for what we do. If it was a way we should
Yeah.
charge a tip. I mean, hey, everybody else is making a
Yeah.
killing off of this. Why can't I?
Exactly, exactly. And, I could see it, "Hey, I went ahead and I did this extra little work over here in this bay for you, you know, can you just pick your preferred tip and hold up your phone with the
Right,
tip thing on it, 10, 15, 25%."
right.
And but, again, if you're having something custom made,
Mhm.
say, a coffee, this is why I understand it in the coffee circles, even though I'm not a huge coffee drinker. You've heard how much I customize mine.
Right,
So for mine, that's why I give them that tip. They make it exactly the way I can
right.
drink it
And we're not talking
because
about,
I don't
tons of money. We're just talking
we're not
about
talking about baristas.
yeah, we're just talking about a
We're
gracious
talking
little
about
tip.
the people that are saying you have to it's still optional there.
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
at this particular coffee shop. And shout out to y'all because I know y'all watch the show. Appreciate those Willy Wonkas, but
They are funny from my point of view too.
right?
They're funny from my
That's
point of
funny
view as
from
well when you get them,
right.
especially the
Yeah,
last one.
because you're
The
you're not a
last one
big
was funny.
chocolate guy.
No, I'm not a coffee fan either.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not a chocolate fan either, so it's kind of a double bad for you. But
Now
I'll
I
bet if
did
I got you
try.
one filled with,
I did
yeah,
try.
you did.
I did try because I like caramel.
Hope you got
I
the
like
small.
caramel. Eh,
Yeah,
I can't get past the coffee part. It's like no.
but yeah, no. See, and honestly, the only reason I get mine is because I want it. It's kind of something I can do with my wife, even though she's still working. When I get home and I bring her hers, I go
Mhm.
there and I found something I actually like because of the chocolate. They use a dark chocolate syrup at this place and it tastes good. So for me, that one there, I found something I like and I don't mind getting it when I'm getting my wife her cup. And she is a coffee drinker. She loves all these frou-frou coffees and she loves her dark black coffees too. So she does all that stuff.
Does she like tea?
There's only a handful. She likes my sweet tea.
That's what I'm saying.
So for a while there, she wasn't drinking it, and now all of a sudden she's back to drinking it. She started it brewing today because I was out, so she got it going today, so that she could have some.
Did you tip her?
But we'll see.
Wait, no, I didn't. No, I didn't want to go down that avenue. Man, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Now that explains your hair more.
No, but I did go by today, as you know. I went and got her medicine, and I went and got some
Coffee's
stuff from the
medicine now.
grocery store. Well, no, I didn't get her coffee today. It's not Tuesday or Friday. I didn't even offer today. Kind of wish I had because she had a headache. So,
So you went to go pick
but
up your prescriptions. Did you tip them?
no, no, there's no compulsory tip there, but it would not surprise me if they were the next ones to do that, but they would have to
You
get
know what? Look
far
it
better
up.
job.
Look it up. Look it up.
Can
I would type it,
pharmacists
but
be
that's
tipped?
yeah. I mean, where is it that people are adding, compulsory tips to their stuff? I mean, I already know one, but I mean, I could care. That's no big.
They can't legally be tipped in
What?
pharmacy professionals are not generally expected or permitted to receive tips for their services. In Texas, tips are typically associated with service industries like restaurants where customers voluntarily offer additional payment for a good or service.
Okay,
I mean, it
voluntary.
would kind of to the effect of what we've been talking about. It would make sense for a pharmacist to get a tip because they're very specialized. They learn a lot about pharmacology and how the medicine reacts and how it works in your body. And in some cases, they can tell you exactly how to apply certain medicines that the doctor can't even tell you because they know from their pharmacology classes what like, for instance, if it's something that has to be absorbed straight into the bloodstream and it's a topical medication, they can tell you exactly where to put it to get it into your bloodstream the quickest and the best.
So if you don't tip your pharmacist, there could be a problem. That's
Well,
probably
I
not
would
their
say
area
they
to add that,
they
huh?
more worthy of that 10% tip
Yeah. Probably
than
not a good place to
your
start that
average,
avenue.
restaurant worker.
Yeah.
Because they have to specialize in knowing which medicines interact with each other, even when your doctor, because it happens all the time where a doctor will write a prescription and they'll write another prescription,
Right.
not knowing that those two prescriptions will interact and mess with each other and make your problem worse in many
Right.
cases. But
Right.
you get to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist is going, no, you may want to call your doctor because this one and this one will interact because the
Right.
pharmacist knows all your medicines.
Yep.
They also know, such as in hormonal treatments, where to apply for best results,
Okay, well, we're getting off point here,
as
man.
opposed to
What
what a
else?
doctor might prescribe you.
What places add tips? Does it say anywhere that they actually add the tip?
No, it just says that they don't have a tip. They can't be tipped in the state of Texas. So, what I looked up, but mandatory tipping or compulsory tipping is, God, there's all sorts of, like I told you when we talked about doing this as a topic, there is so many people out there feeling the same way exactly that you do. if you're going to add it on to my bill automatically, I'm not going to want to
Sucks.
pay it. Yeah. People,
Sucks.
if you're handing somebody a bag of microwaved food in a
Yeah.
drive-through, you have not earned a tip.
No.
Simple as that. I hate to sound mean, horrible.
Right.
I appreciate you doing your job well. I'm going to do what I can to make you feel appreciated, but you didn't earn a tip nuking a McDonald's
Exactly.
burger and throwing it in the
I got up on
um
time. I should get a
at
tip.
a Whataburger. Well, if you're at a Whataburger, and I don't think they allow tips at Whataburger, they actually pay their people well. We know this, but they at Whataburger, you can order your burger pretty much any way you want it. With lettuce, without
Right.
mayo, mustard, add bacon. Oftentimes, you've heard when we were going to Whataburger a lot, we got our daughter a grilled cheese with bacon on it. Well, that's not the way
By the
they
way,
make it normally, but they
the
make it,
mushroom
and
Swiss is
they
back at Whataburger.
exactly. And I've heard that commercial in both English and Spanish on streaming channels.
Sounds
I'm
great
not
both
even
ways
kidding.
to me. And I'm
Right?
like,
Hey, it's yeah, even Swiss is back. But I'm not a Swiss guy. See, so I would go in there and be willing to tip for them to put cheddar or provolone or some other cheese on there.
see,
'Cause I don't like Swiss that
I've
much.
been doing my own. I've been cooking all of my ever since I got my griddle. It's been like a curse now. I'm like, why am I cooking? This sucks. But
Right.
anyway, I wanted to make mushroom and Swiss burgers, but I went further. I made, pepper jack. I used pepper jack cheese.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty good,
Yep.
I have to
Pepper
admit.
jack. Hell yeah.
So I've had
Well,
my
Swiss is about
griddle
the
now
only
for like
cheese.
4 weekends, and we've used it for 3, and I'm like,
Now you know how I feel when I got my
how
pellet
did
grill,
I
man.
go
That thing gets
wrong here?
all the time, 3, 4 times a week. I'm cooking on that thing. It's like I can't get away from it
Speaking of,
because it's easy. Because it's easy.
well, I'll tell you, I was at work today. I know it's totally off subject of tips, but there was a return of
Aren't all our conversations?
a Weber grill at
Uh huh.
at the store, and the grill, they would tell me there was something was wrong with it or whatever, and they were trying to RTV it or fix it or whatever. They don't take it back
Uh
or something. Anyway, $1,500 or something another grill. No pellets, no pellets,
huh.
no, just a barbecue pit. And I'm like, is there somebody
One of them
like a
heavy
little
duty
sous
ones they
chef
out
underneath the
there.
cabinet there, or what in the world? $1,500.
Oh yeah, no, it's not uncommon, dude.
That's
You
ridiculous.
get Camp Chef pellet grills can go up as high as 2 grand or more.
Yeah, but this
You,
isn't. This is just a propane pit. That's all this was.
it isn't a dual like does propane and charcoal or any. It would
Nope.
really.
Yeah,
How big
really?
was this? How many burners?
I don't know. Probably about, I don't know, about as
Restaurant size.
big as it was a four burner. It was a four burner. That was it.
That's it.
That's it.
And it was 1,500.
1,500
What'd they
bucks.
do? Plate the thing in gold?
No, there was a lot of little flip out crap on there. I mean, this thing had more gadgets on it than a friggin', a Tesla. I mean, a Ford. But
Yeah, yeah. Ford, a Ford. Get it right now. Elon, please don't turn off my power.
more than
That
a
was him
Ford.
again. But don't turn off his power. We're
I
done
didn't
recording.
say Tesla. Oh crap. Here we
Oh,
go
look.
again. No, I'm kidding. No, but the thing is, it had like a fold out to do this, and there was a spot on the grill that did this, and I was just like, good
I wonder how much
lord.
of that was tip.
I don't know, but I do
That
know
price,
this
because all
much.
them little gadgets are cost extra. That's a customization there.
I'm gonna tell you, I am going to on my weekends and stuff like that. When I am outside cooking now, I'm gonna take me a jar out there and I'm gonna put tips mandatory on it if
It,
anybody wants to eat.
I might just do that around here.
You never know.
And
You
you know,
might
the
find something in there
wives
you
are going
don't
to tell us
want.
both, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say you know what the wives are going to tell us, right? I'll give you a tip. You want to sleep in the bed tonight? Put that jar
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they'll close the door behind him and you open that jar. Was this a house key? Then you realize that they've been changed. Crap.
Yeah, maybe the tip jar wasn't such a good idea,
Yeah. Maybe this
or
was
maybe
not.
make it compulsory. right as you're getting ready to hand them their hamburger hot off the grill,
Yeah.
you go,
Slide
"Give
them
me a
a
$5 tip."
slide 'em a napkin, you know? Here's how much this would be at 18%.
Guys out there see how silly it is to compulsory tip. You know, you'd be at home, dad's cooking on the grill, and he's gonna be like, "That'll be $5, please." But dad, you bought the hamburger meat and the buns. "That'll be $5, tip, please."
Yeah, yeah. Then you bring it back to them on like a paper towel instead of a plate, you know. There you go.
Exactly. You didn't
Where's the
tip
corn on the
enough.
cob? Right in front of them, snap it in half.
Darn, dude.
You get half. Then throw that tip jar right there on the table.
I'm repoing half of this burger because you only tipped me $5. The cleaner for this grill to clean that grill
That's a good idea.
after you had your burger cooked on it cost more than that.
Yeah. I like the napkin idea, right on the napkin, you know.
Hmm.
Slide it in under their plate. Like, here you go. Enjoy that meal that I paid for myself at my house as you sit
Exactly.
there and get everything for free. Yeah, exactly. 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 Yeah. Do not
Oh man,
barter.
that's about right.
Make sure you put
Exactly.
that down.
I don't you
Will not barter. I will not
then your
take
wife
three
walks up.
goats and a
Your
live
wife walks up,
chicken for
shows you a
this.
little thigh.
Yeah.
Your wife walks up, shows you a little thigh, and all of a sudden you're like, "You get 2
Yeah.
burgers."
Yeah. That's what you say. Hmm. Nah, I'm more of a breast guy, thank you.
And when she shows you those, she gets 2 more.
Then the restaurant's closed.
All right? Exactly. And she's
Everybody
eating, and the
starves.
restaurant's closed,
And
I'm
everybody
going to eat.
starves. Then you call Uber Eats and tell them to come feed your kids, and then you tip them.
Exactly. Well, what's funny with that, it's funny you should mention them. Did you know they charge
Yep.
an upcharge already just for the Uber Eats driver to pick it
Yep.
up? Then the Uber Eats driver now, and there's plenty of documented cases of this. If you don't tip them what they feel is an adequate amount right now,
Oh
they
yeah, they
will
rate
eat
you.
food.
Right. Yeah, they rate you. They give you
Yeah,
you have a rating as a customer. You get
yeah.
rated instead of you rating your delivery. You get rated as a customer, like a cheapskate or whatever. That's where it's like maybe I should
That's where
remove that
I'll
nail
tell you
strip
right
from my driveway or something. You know?
Yeah. You know, I will never order an Uber Eats or anything like that simply for that fact. Um,
I think my
because
son did it.
I saw even the other day, lady didn't want to put the tip on her credit card when she ordered the food, but she had like $20 tip on a single meal, which is pretty much double the price of the meal.
Right.
Um, So, because it costs about $20 for your average little fast food joint meal through
Right.
Uber Eats and stuff. She's like, I didn't have cash. I got there, all my fries were eaten and everything else. The burger was taken out, a bite was taken out, and it was
Okay.
back in the bag
That's
because they didn't think they were getting a tip. So,
mm,
in some cases, it's better to tip or not use the service. And
yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of people are getting that way. Now, I can also tell you, Uber itself. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of people getting into top-rated Ubers or anything like that. These people, instead of just picking you up and carpooling like it used to be,
All right.
and charging you a little bit for the gas and whatnot, people have consoles in their little fuel efficient cars while they're driving around with waters and
I know.
game systems with, TVs in the headrests. And I mean,
Yeah.
just all kinds of crazy stuff
Yeah.
just to make sure they get a good rating because people have become so flippin' entitled. And I think it's just a sad reality we live in that
Yeah. And that
tipping
is
has
our
become
tip for the
mandatory
day. This is a
being
sad
earned.
reality where these people are.
Yep. Yeah, well, it is a sad reality in many ways, especially if you're not earning that tip, you don't deserve it, period. Now, again, we've talked about, the restaurant where you have 6 or more. Yeah, there's a
Right.
lot more work goes into timing food,
Right.
everything from the kitchen on all the way forward when
Agree.
you have large parties.
Agree.
And if you're gonna add a compulsory tip to that, you won't hear a complaint, and you'll probably get more on top of that
Exactly.
just because
Amen.
I appreciate
Preach it,
that.
brother. Preach it.
Yeah. But
But
if
you
I'm coming
go,
in to pick up
yeah,
go
you go in
meals,
for a $40 meal for 2 meals, and I'm going to bill you now.
I'm going to pay 10% more just because I
Mm.
can, just because we deserve a tip. Yeah. No, if you got to up your costs, people understand inflation. We understand that things cost more than they used to. It's been every year of our lives since
Mhm.
before we were born.
You know what
We
sucks
know
about it?
that
That we know.
stuff goes up in price.
Yeah, but we just know about it. If we didn't know,
Yeah.
wouldn't be a deal. If you just
And you
raise the
walked into
price, like,
that
hey,
10% hit. Yeah.
yep, didn't know. Instead of it
Yeah.
being
Well, even
$18 or whatever it was, it's now
or
$20.
22.
Hey, yep,
Yeah.
no big deal. Hey, I
Exactly.
understand.
No big deal. And many restaurants opted not to do that because they expect the inflation to come down because it does go in a cycle.
Exactly.
You know,
But we all know
it
about,
never go
hey, where are all the chickens? Or hey, what's going on with this? Or hey, what's going hey, we can understand stuff like that. Hey, what do we do? I understand that. But to sit there and purposely go, hey, you're gonna pay this. No, I'm not. I'm not
before I hand you
good
over
with
these
that.
2 paper bags with
Mhm.
a burger, fries, and a milkshake.
Yeah. Then you find out the dude in the back used to work for Uber Eats, and you're like, oh, I didn't tip him. I'm not buying this. There's a bite out of my
Exactly.
food. Anyway.
And that's unfortunately I mean, that's the reality we live in. People have
Mhm.
become obsessed with it. I earned this just by driving my car to your house and dropping a bag on your porch. It's
Yep.
like, huh?
I'm going to return the
I
favor.
earned
I would like to return the
a cup of
favor. I would
coffee,
love to drive to their house and drop off a bag on their porch.
bag of
So,
something, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wouldn't be food. Well,
yep.
some people might eat it, who knows? It
I don't
takes all
know.
kinds in this universe.
They'll know it's there,
I know
though.
I wouldn't.
You smell something
Oh,
burning?
yeah.
Put it out.
For those
Put
of
it out.
you who know, you know. If you don't know, we're not about to tell you
No.
because that would be incriminating evidence,
You could be next. You could be
and
next.
we don't wanna incriminate ourselves. No
No,
reason to. No.
no, no.
Anyway, I think
Anyway,
we've gotten all we can out of compulsory tipping tonight,
yeah. Join us next time
but I could
where
try
we decide to badmouth
10%.
somebody else that decided to try to break one off on you or anything like that. It just
Or just
sucks.
mindless, apathy to everything because we're that age.
Maybe next time we'll just talk about, like, the greatest cartoon ever is Captain Caveman. And if you disagree with me, then we have a problem.
We're gonna fight with a club that does everything.
It don't matter. I don't care what anybody thinks.
That's
All
right,
right, man. Well, good
Captain.
show. Good show. Good
Yep.
show.
Anyway, thank you for joining us once again on Accidental Thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel on
Yep.
YouTube with all your friends. I'm Jason,
I am
and
Jimmy.
he's Jimmy,
Shaggy DA.
the Shaggy. Y'all have a blessed week. We'll talk to you again soon.
Later.